Good afternoon, and welcome to Spirit Speaks on the World Today. I am Reverend Jim Webb. I serve as the senior minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm an author of a number of books: The Soul of Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, 30 P's to Prosperity, Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board, as well as my latest, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. I also do counseling, coaching, and I teach classes and workshops. One of the things I do, in addition to all of this, is I channel. I channel a group of beings, the masters of planetary healing and transformation. They're a group of beings whose purpose is to help us all to heal and transform so that we can help others to heal and transform. In essence, they're the light workers. So we have been working together for over 2 decades now, and they came with the idea recently to look at our world affairs and give the spiritual perspective because so many things in our world affairs seem to have us up in arms. So every Monday at 5, we get together to do this. And every Monday at 5, I try to demystify channeling a little more. It's not scary or spooky, it's quite natural. And we all have had impressions or information from another realm. It comes in the form of inspiration, an idea, or whatever. The only difference is over years and years of study and practice, I've learned to harness my ability to receive energy, information, guidance from the other realm and to work with the beings who provide that energy, information, and guidance. It's all the energy of love, and love takes many forms. So this energy moves through me. And one of the things that you may see as this energy moves through me is you may see my third eye kind of blink a bit. And that is because this energy is so intense that my physical body is more solid than the energy. So my physical body, especially my third eye, might have some resistance, and that resistance shows up in the form of the wiggling of my third eye. Other than that, what you'll feel, if you are attuned to it and aware of it, is you will feel a same flow of energy, ecstasy, light, and healing that I feel. And you might feel a sense of relief or release about some of the things that have had you worried, because that is part of their objective. So I'm going to go out in a few moments, and my producer, Michael Mangus, will take over. He'll kind of guide you in asking the questions that you have based on what Spirit brings forward. He will manage that process. Hi, Michael.
Good evening, Reverend Jim. How are you this fine day?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm looking forward to hearing what the masters say about what happened during the debate and
That'll
also
be
what's going
interesting.
on. Yeah, because you don't know.
Yeah, I have
I'm
no idea what they're going to say, what they're going to do, what approach they're going to take, or even what they're going to focus on today, but we'll see in a moment.
right. And so if people would like to go ahead and put their comments in the chat section, that would be great. And then as we have time, then we'll be more than happy to I'll give them to the masters to go ahead and to um, talk about. So as we have time.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to go away, and the masters will come through, and we'll leave it all in Michael's capable hands. Reverend Michael Mangus. Greetings. It is our honor and pleasure to work with you at this time in this way. We would first of all suggest that you take a moment to receive the light we would offer to you now. Just breathe. Just breathe. And just receive the light, the healing, the love, and the grace of God. Just breathe. Just breathe. Now, you often thank us for coming through in this way, when in truth, we thank you for the work that we do on the earth plane is facilitated by you. You are all channels and vessels for the light of God, for you anchor this light on the earth, and you facilitate the healing of the earth. So we would ask you in this moment to be intentional in doing just that. Open yourselves to the intention of anchoring onto the earth the light God offers to heal the earth. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. And as you breathe, if you choose, you may work with the thought form. It is my intention to anchor onto the earth the light of God that would heal the earth. It is my intention to anchor onto the earth the light of God that would heal the earth. It is my intention to anchor onto the earth the light of God that would heal the earth. Just breathe this in. Just breathe this in. And a byproduct of this intention and this process is your own healing. Your own healing happens automatically and naturally as you open as a conduit for the healing grace of God. Just breathe. Just breathe and receive. For as you receive this light, you are healed. Your mind is returned to fullness, the idea that you are full, perfect, whole, and love. And your thoughts reflect more fully that truth, and your energy reflects that truth, and thus your circumstances begin to reflect that truth. So you breathe. And we would begin by asking you, as you choose, to specifically send healing to two areas on your earth, in addition to your United States and its elections process. We would ask you to send healing light to the Russia Ukraine situation and the situation in the Middle East. And even though you have been focused on your elections, this is a critical juncture in both of those experiences. So breathe. In the Middle East, we see an energy that can best be described through the channel's human database as many hands trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. You understand the Rubik's Cube, the cube that is quite malleable, and the objective being to match all the colors. This Rubik's Cube is quite a puzzle, and many hands are attempting to solve this puzzle now. So we ask you to help us. Imagine your hands being hands upon a Rubik's Cube. Imagine your hands of light as hands upon a Rubik's Cube. And imagine in your mind that you have observed an expert on the Rubik's Cube solving the puzzle in moments. Take a moment and work with us that we might work through you in this way to anchor this energy on the earth. Just imagine yourself as a channel of wisdom, a channel of light, a channel of grace, holding in your hands of light a Rubik's Cube. Now imagine your hands moving quite rapidly with the information of light at the speed of light, solving the Rubik's Cube. and holding it up in your hand. See this symbolic image as an energy frequency that is being anchored onto the earth for the purpose of solving this riddle. And in Russia and Ukraine, see as you choose a certain leader developing a distaste for the war and engineering a graceful exit. As if this leader and your human sensibilities may be slightly taken aback by this visual image, but it is important. As if a certain leader is at a fancy dinner and has had an issue of incontinence and must gracefully leave the room, using the dinner napkin to camouflage the accident. Just visualize an image such as this and a graceful exit from an awkward situation. This is the energy that you anchor onto the earth, and this frequency of a leader making a graceful exit after an unfortunate mistake is an energy that can be useful as a choice for a certain leader. Take a moment to hold this energy and this image. And finally, as you have been receiving so much of this energy, see yourself safe in the light of God. I am safe, loved, and protected in the light of God. I am safe, loved, and protected in the light of God. I am safe, loved, and protected in the light of God. Just breathe this in. And we would then turn our attention to your elections in your country. The visual image that we find in the channel's database to depict the energy in this moment is as follows. The energy of a certain female candidate on a treadmill with an incline, walking, 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 walking steadily, breaking a sweat. This is a human uh, term to break a sweat. Breaking a sweat because this requires exertion. Walking, walking, walking. The treadmill is what the channel would call a new treadmill that rises to an incline as well. So this is a task, a path that includes exertion and a climb. And this being is up to the task. This being thus far has executed the tasks flawlessly. The being has enough leg strength. The being has enough cardiovascular strength. And these, of course, are symbolic of the being's temperament and the being's wisdom and the being's persona and the being's demeanor. The being, in human terms, is very right for the job. Now, what has happened recently, in the most recent future, as well as over the last several months, is that your American population is getting the clearest and most unvarnished view of the candidates possible. And there are many in your country that deem one of the candidates to be unsuitable for the role, for the position. There are others who think the same of the other candidates as well, of course. And many Americans are receiving from their higher selves a call to conscience. What this means is that evidence of one being's temperamental unsuitability for the role has become undeniable. And many Americans are receiving a call to conscience to vote their conscience instead of their party, their habit, or their political identity. This is a this is a an indication of the maturing of certain minds and the maturing of your country's experience that causes it to ready itself for the next level of existence and experience. This is accompanied by a somewhat under the radar, this is a human term, under the radar. It means not widely detected, but there has been a an imperceptible yet important increase in voter registrations of certain demographics likely to support the female candidate. And this has gone less than fully noticed and has not shown up in surveys or polls because these beings are and will continue to be registering, but not considered likely voters because the data will not make it into survey databases in time for them to be adequately counted, but their votes will be adequately counted. So there are certain things that seem to be hidden, yet they are hidden in plain sight, such as the, in human terms, the stunning increase in voter registrations among a certain demographic group likely to support the female candidate. And this does and will make a difference. And this is one of the latest energy surges that we see that is likely to affect the election process at this time. Now, as we see the next several weeks The phrase that we find in the channel's consciousness to describe the energy that we see in this moment, and of course, moments may change, but we see the energy of more of the same. Certain trajectories and narratives have been set, and certain candidates will continue to behave according to certain narratives. One being, as we see it, is quite frustrated and, in human terms, flummoxed by all that is happening and all that has happened. And this being feels to be in a primal state of anxiety and apprehension and rage and disbelief about what is happening. And their actions will, as we see it right now, their actions are unlikely to modify, despite much advice to do just that. So we see this being offering much of the same. Now, we do see, for this has recently occurred, another shock in the form of an assassination attempt. Now, we do see security tightening around this being. Insulation. We find in the channel's consciousness the word insulation, for this being will become increasingly insulated and thus increasingly isolated. And this does not help the being's psyche to become more balanced. And that is why we are seeing in this moment a trajectory of more of the same. We are also finding an energy that reflects a burgeoning aspect of the American collective consciousness. And the energy we find is the energy of a student finally realizing the solution to a math problem or solving a puzzle. In the energy that this vision from the channel's experience set indicates, it indicates a student figuring something out. Well, Americans, more Americans each day, have this being figured out. And when Americans have this being figured out, they are more objective in assessing this being's fitness for office. And that is a trend that we see continuing over the next several weeks. We also see a wave of what you might call early votes or mail in votes or proactive votes. For there is a burgeoning strategy to proactively urge the most enthusiastic voters to vote very, very early by electronic or remote means. And this wave we see as unprecedented. An unprecedented number of people will vote early or electronically or by alternate means. And this, for the large part, will go smoothly, as we see it in this moment. yet it will yield effective results by giving the election resources an opportunity to really cultivate lower propensity voters. And this will have an effect. So, this is what we would say as what you might call the developments as we see them today. Your task is to stay calm, stay in peace, stay in love, and send this situation love as you receive love from Source. And that is what we would say about this today. And we would now open this session to any questions you might have.
Thank you, Masters. We have several questions here. The first question that I will share with you is this is from Reverend Jane Batt. She said, would a government shutdown still work as a part of the divine plan?
We would work with this. When we alluded earlier to the visual image of a student figuring out a math problem or suddenly realizing the solution to a puzzle, we use this energy to depict the American psyche. And a large number of Americans have certain things figured out. One of the things they have figured out, in addition to what we discussed already, is certain politicians and their motive, which is not to solve problems or to bring legislation, but to grandstand and play games. And a certain portion of the electorate, we would use the human term, tires of these games. We are seeing waves and waves and millions of humans in your country. And we are seeing so many of them having the thought form, I am tired of these games. And we find in a certain set of beings' consciousness the idea, I'm tired of games, I will vote out the circus clowns. And that is an energy that we see moving forward to this election cycle. Now, it is not clear yet whether a certain political party will ill-advisedly create a government shutdown due to a non-issue close to the election. But even the talk of it causes or triggers people to think, I'm tired of the circus, I must vote out the clowns. And this is an energy that we see at this time, an energy trend, an energy trajectory that we see at this time. So even the discussion of it and even flirting with it creates the result that we describe. And this is what we would say.
Thank you, Masters. We have another question from Jane Batt. She would like to know, how can the small town in Ohio, recently thrust into the spotlight, receive healing and peace?
We would work with this. The theme of the day in political circus we we conflated a word. In political circles, in human terms, you all might call that a Freudian slip. The theme of today in political circles, as we see it, is responsible rhetoric versus irresponsible rhetoric. And even though this lesson has been delivered repeatedly, as you know, certain lessons must be delivered repeatedly in order that they might be learned. So, this experience is an example of the damage that irresponsible rhetoric can cause. Now, you would think that a being who is being asked to pay millions and millions and millions of dollars due to irresponsible rhetoric would be chastened. But as we stated before, certain lessons must be repeated in order that they might be learned. So your country is seeing this. And we are using strong words here, but these are the words that reflect the energy that we observe. There are many Americans who are appalled by this, for they see the direct link between the rhetoric and the result. And this also has an impact on how certain Americans will vote. So the key here is to send this community light. For this community is in need of support to move through this at this time. Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Masters. We also have a question from Joel this evening. Hello, Joel. Many feel that the assassination attempts were staged. Can you speak to this?
We would speak to this in broad terms for now. Everything on your planet is staged by your souls. Your souls make broad macro decisions in terms of what parents your souls will choose, what family you will be born with, what key life paths you are likely to take, etc. And then certain micro events are equally staged in your out of body experience in what you might call dreaming. You arrange with certain others that you would play out certain scenarios for growth, for healing, and for transformation. And then when you awaken, you play out these scenarios with the others. You hand them a script and say, this is your role, for this would help me to learn, heal, and grow. And you do this in spirit, and then it happens on the earth plane. So everything is staged on some level or not. on your earth plane. Of course, there is random free choice and a certain randomness to it, but the key aspects of every experience, the key aspects are staged, are agreed to beforehand, even if the details are not. Now, that being said, this situation, this most recent situation, is receiving a great deal of scrutiny because of the coincidental nature of this potential shooter doing so when the appearance by the former president was not scheduled, was somewhat impromptu. And whether actually staged or not, there is a growing skepticism about this candidate's truthfulness. We are waiting for you to pick yourself up off the floor after that statement. Because there is a growing concern about this candidate's truthfulness, there is an impression, a strong impression, that this is staged. And there is a certain degree of weariness about this as well, as in, this is more of the same. We've seen this movie before. And so this second experience will not have an impact in ways that the first experience did. And we see security tightening to, in human terms, we can find phrases such as to the level of warding off terrorist experiences. So the threat level will be reassessed and heightened to a threat level previously only reserved for likely terrorist targets. But the skepticism with the electorate will remain, and this will affect the electorate's willingness to trust this candidate and the electorate's willingness to go through 4 years of this level of chaos. So this all has an effect. And this is what we would say. Your task is to release fear or apprehension and ask and allow the light of God to flow into those places within each of you that carry fear or apprehension about the outcome of this election. And when you receive this light of God in yourself, send the excess of this light to the earth, that it too might find peace in the outcome of this election, no matter what it is. Is there perhaps another question?
Yes, Masters, thank you. This is from Jane Bannett. She wrote in and said that a new advisor to one candidate is openly extreme about one race being superior or over another. Will this open extremism enlighten more voters?
Yes. We would we find in the channel's consciousness the beginning of a farcical movie, a script for a farcical movie, How Not to Get Elected. And This would be a chapter in the book or a scene in the movie. Now, the being who engages this being believes that this strengthens the being with the being's base. And it does. And the being is actually quite cunning in recognizing and understanding the motivations of his base. And this is an effective tool with his base. And the being believes that the being can win with just his base. And the being may be able to win with just his base because, as we have stated before, probabilities continue to shift. What the being does not see is the wave of newly registered voters, the demographics of the wave of newly registered voters, and the impact that this will have to blunt the effects of this being deepening his penetration of his base. So, this is an error similar to the error made out of pride or arrogance that or hubris that in choosing a running mate as if a running mate to balance the being's extremism was not necessary because the election was already, in human terms, in the bag. So this is another miscalculation similar to that. And it will have its effects in limiting the appeal of the candidate to more moderate voters. And this is what we would say.
Thank you, Masters. We have time for one more question. And this is from Jill this evening. Hello, Jill. And she says, how will we overcome the Electoral College putting the general vote in jeopardy?
Yes, this is a challenge in your country at this time because of the increasing closeness of elections, which heighten the possibility that the being who wins more popular votes does not win the necessary number of electoral votes. Now, this is a risk at this time and through the election period. The key here, as we see it, is that unless the male candidate takes drastic action, this being is likely to experience an erosion of support that would make the likelihood of an electoral college win despite a popular vote loss uh, unattainable. So, as the trajectories present themselves right now, we see this being having difficulty choosing a different path, a different set of strategies, and a different approach to this election. And so we see a possible trajectory of this being's support eroding to the degree that it would make an electoral college victory despite a popular vote loss impossible. So we see an erosion of this being's support at this time, unless the being we are seeing a movie that the channel watches certain holiday seasons called Scrooge, unless the being has an epiphany. And this is what we see.
Thank you, Masters. We have time for one more question here. Jane Bad asks, if the less mature candidate wins, will we still see, sense, know love's presence at work?
We would work with this. We are being preempted by a force that says, do not give this energy. Be singular in your vision of love. Be singular in your vision of love. Be singular in your vision of love. This is not denial. This is your mastery. Be single in your vision of love. Be not distracted and thus give energy to possibilities that are not reflective of the love you desire to see. Do you understand this?
Yes, we do, Masters. Thank you very much. That's all the time that we have for questions. Do you have final words for us?
Good. We are seeing at this time an energy and a trajectory that calls for celebration. We are seeing signs such as love wins in celebration, signs of the potential for jubilation at this moment. Work with that energy to create the most loving outcome to your elections and to all situations. This is the energy of creation, for love is the energy of creation. Release any temptation to engage in energies of destruction. For what has needed to be exposed, any destructive energies that have needed to be exposed, have been exposed already. Giving energy to this destructive energy serves no purpose. Focus your eyes on the joy of a loving outcome. This is what we would say to you. And be blessed and in God forever. Hey, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
Reverend, there's a Alicia, she says, thank you, Masters. And also Jane Best says, thank you, Reverend Jim and Reverend Michael. You're welcome. You're welcome. I heard someone has classes this evening. Start
Yes.
just a few moments.
Yes. At 7:30, I'm doing a class called Spirit Speaks on past/future and between lives. The real title of the class is Healing Soul Trauma. We've come to the earth to heal the trauma that our soul has experienced through its journeys, so that our soul can resonate so highly with the vibration of the One that, in a sense, we return to the One. So, Spirit, through me, in a way similar to what you've just seen, will work with each participant, helping them to heal the past life issues that they came to heal, so that the trauma of those past lives no longer impacts their current life or makes an imprint on their current life, so that your current life becomes more joyful, peaceful, and productive, and your future lives become lives of heaven on earth. So that's what I'm doing tonight, and there is room in the class for walk ins as you choose to experience it. So that's what I'm doing in a little over an hour.
Do you want to talk about the other class too on Thursdays?
Sure. On Thursdays, I'm doing a class, and we had our first one last Thursday, so there's still time, called Deepening Your Spiritual Connection. And this class has just been divine. And if the first one is just this amazingly divine, you can only imagine how they're going to be as they progress. We, in the first class, we did exercises and had experiences of deep, deep spiritual connection. You will learn to literally merge with the energy of spirit, hear spirit, feel that oneness with spirit and that support, give messages, even channel. These exercises and experiences are designed to help you to be a more conscious channel of spiritual energy so that it can improve your life and improve the lives of those around you. So that's on Thursday nights. And there's room in that class as well for walk ins. So that's what I'm doing, in addition to my new book, which I
Well,
actually have some.
hold on. We have to, yes, somebody has a new book out. And also that I hear that we have news about said book.
Yes, we cracked the glass ceiling and we made it as a number one bestseller in our category for new release. And we've gotten some reviews on Amazon.com that are good. Once we do that, we need to keep the engine going, because once a book cracks that glass ceiling, we have to keep the momentum going to stay there. And the higher in the rankings we are, the more the book is exposed to other people and the more the word gets out. So before the price of the book increases, as it will on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when the price increase goes through, you can buy the book for 99 cents. Buy the book,
What?
read it,
What?
buy copies for friends, share it.
What?
Yeah, you can do
99
all of that.
cents.
hmm and that's in order that we stay high on the rankings. And once we get the critical mass to stay up there, the price goes up for everybody else. But you can help me, help yourself, and help the world by buying this book right now, buying copies for other of your friends, and sharing it.
Absolutely. And again, the price will go up this week. So if again, that special 99-cent introductory price is just, again, that's going to go away this week.
Yeah.
So if you could, if you've already have purchased your copy, you can also buy for others and send it to them. Only 99 cents. A great book, a great read. It's only like what, 24, 25 pages, but it's packed with a lot of wonderful information, including links to some great meditations that you would not normally get in other books. So that's So again, if you go on to Amazon, again, it's the book is called "Forgive Your Way to Prosperity," and it is only 99 cents.
So that's what I'm up to, Reverend Michael. I want to thank you for shepherding us through this today, and I want to thank all our viewers as well. Thank you very much. And everyone have a wonderful evening. Good night.